Yeah, okay. This episode is for car enthusiasts, so it's for you, because today, in our new mini-series, Old versus New, we have the Porsche Boxster in the first generation versus the most recent one. This will be super interesting, and we'll also take a short look into a special exhibit at the Porsche Museum, which is closed at the moment, but not closed for you when you're here at our Autogefühl channel. This vehicle here, the 986, the first Boxster generation. I have also a personal story with that one, because my uncle took me for a test drive in this one when I was still a child. Yeah, exactly, that's me, little Thomas, 12 years old. That means it was 22 years ago. These photos were taken in 1998. That's my uncle. Thank you so much for the ride and best greetings to him. Of course, at this day, he had to take the steering wheel. Oh, and did you notice? This 986 Boxster had a special eye-lit headlamp package, so you don't see the fried egg form of the headlamps, but it looks 911 alike with the round headlamp. Oh yeah, the roof. Electric opening at that stage, at that time, wow, that was super fancy. And I was not expecting that I'm ever able to drive this car, so it means a lot to me that I can do it right here today. This vehicle here, this generation, built from 1996 until 2004, and this very vehicle is usually a 2002 model, but it was built back from the Porsche Museum for a 1997 looks. Yeah, these projects they do here in the Porsche Museum, and you can see here the so-called fried egg design here in the front, which was also criticized then for the 911 in the respective fried egg generation. But overall, this super sleek look and midship engine concept. Whereas here we have the most recent Boxster 25 years Special Edition in the recent 718 generation. And you can see they kept the design somewhat, but of course more modern, a little bit more angular. Of course, more details are coming up right now. 4.32 m or 170 inches is the length here of the original 986 generation Porsche Boxster. So really short, tiny almost. And you can see here the design line really straight. And then you have this one set up on the top, the whole roof. This is a little bit different than with the new generation. Soon taking a look at that. The biggest visual difference are the wheels here. 16-inch wheels, tiny for nowadays comparison. This is a very interesting one, but looking forward to your opinion. Do you find this generation more beautiful than the current one? The latest 718 Boxster, you can see here design-wise, I think the integration here of the roof into the chassis, that is more seamless, I would say. So design-wise, from the side profile, I find the new one more beautiful, but tell me your comments. And here you can see the massive difference, 20-inch wheels here now for the special edition with retro golden elements. Lengthwise, by the way, 6 centimeters or 2 inches longer this model, so almost kept the same size, but due to more technology and so on, heavier, around 100 kilograms and 200 pounds heavier than the original model. But clearly, as for today, you can see that the original idea of the 911 of having a sleek, lightweight sports car is nowadays more transported by the 718 cars. And the central exhaust pipe was characteristic for the 986 Boxster, 2.5 or 2.7 or 3.2 liter 6-cylinder flat engine. In this case here, this very vehicle, 2.7 liters 6-cylinder flat engine. 6.6 seconds is the acceleration figure with 220 horsepower. And here we have twin exhaust tips for the 718 model with the top engine, 4-liter 6-cylinder flat engine, 400 horsepower. So they have doubled the horsepower figure, and they've also cut down the acceleration figure. 4 seconds for this very car. We had 6.6 with the other one. Very interesting. But you know that the 718 generation here was also about introduction of the 4-cylinder turbo engines, 2-liter or 2.5 liters, and real car enthusiasts and real Porsche fans have demanded the return of the naturally aspirated 6-cylinder engine, and Porsche also then did that with the GTS models, and now also here with the 25 years special edition. And now first look at the interior here with this flat steering wheel design, but I first want to show you how the roof opens, transition from exterior to interior. This here, in this case, you have to pull the handbrake that the roof is opening, then ignition on, and the first step is manual here, then press and open it or release it right here, and then you can have the electric mechanism. Listen to that. So the electric motor there sound quite differently. There we go, with the roof of the 986 Boxster. And now we have a clear shot of the original interior. Really exciting. Look at that. There was a converter automatic gearbox, and of course also a manual, and then the Tiptronic buttons are also here at the steering wheel. And once again, this really flat design. Manual gauges at that point, of course. And the red interior was also characteristic. Silver exterior, red interior was the launch color, the communication color of this vehicle. Really cool here also with the old school fabric here between the seats. And here the middle armrest, you can actually close it right here also with the key and then open it with pressing it. And I really like the classic manual handbrake. And look at the infotainment unit. This is how everything used to be with the telephone. This is really classic, isn't it? How do you like this old school style? However, what's not that old school, here you have a USB connection. This is a retrofit, and Porsche does offer that for their customers of older vehicles. And we also have a modern infotainment system here in the 986. Really interesting. Also here with Apple CarPlay integration. So that's actually quite cool, nice to have. And yeah, Siri integration. When you press the home button here, you can go back to the Porsche menu, and the GPS is also then available when you put out the Apple CarPlay here with the normal Porsche infotainment system. So that's really cool and fancy to see. Nice that they offer that. The seats are, by the way, actually quite cozy, and in comparison to these new sport seats, I think they have a little bit more comfort focus. Oh, there's a call incoming. Hello, this is Thomas from Autogefühl. Hey, Oliver, how are you doing? It's Oliver Blume, the Porsche CEO. A birthday present for me. I can keep this one? Really? Thank you so much. Cool. Yeah, see you soon, man. That's so nice from him. So I can really keep that here. Nice birthday present, isn't it? And now the current generation. I mean, not sure how about you, but when you ask me personally, red car interiors? No, no, no. Well, that's my taste. No way. But what about you? Tell me in the comments if you think red car interiors rock or if they're rather like, oh. But now the roof is of course more comfortable, electric, all electric without a manual release, and the electric motor of the roof is also more silent and it's also quicker. So that's of course, just a little bit more handy to use. Nice development in this case. But now a clear shot of the interior. I'll leave it for you. You can see in the 25 years special edition with this brushed aluminum look. That's actually quite fancy. Yeah, the red steering wheel, again, a little bit over the top, but it refers to the original model, and that's why it's also in a way well done, because it really excites the original model. The seats also visually quite the same, but they're not as soft as the old models. So I think the seating comfort actually is better with the old model. However, I would recommend with the 718 generation here, you can also get Racetex fabric seats and also microfiber seats. For example, in the GTS model with the microfiber, or the Racetex then in the Boxster T model. The Boxster T is, if you ask me, the Boxster to go for. It's more purist approach, back to the roads, less equipment, and also with the fabric seats. So the Boxster T, if you ask me, the Boxster to go for. But here with all the fancy equipment in the special edition, also then with controls on the steering wheel. The right side is digital, but the center one, the RPM meter, still analog. I think it's also for this sports car the right decision. Yeah, and trunks have been introduced by Porsche, not by electric vehicles. Front trunks here with a replacement tire in the front with the 986 generation. But special for the Boxster was, of course, that we not only have a trunk, but also then a real trunk in the rear. And that made it quite versatile for a sports car because you have a second storage space right here. I mean, here the key fob tells all the story already somewhat. But even the old key fob had opening buttons for frunk and trunk. Very interesting. And it's of course the same here then for the current model. And here we go. A little bit easier to open and still versatile, but we don't have the replacement tire here anymore. And also the rear trunk of the 718 model. You can see that the build quality has been improved over the years. Of course, we can expect that, but everything looks, more integrated, so to speak. So also stepping up the build quality on the interior, even in trunk comparisons. To me, always the coolest things about convertibles, you have two looks, the closed look and the open top look. Here we go, and as we've opened both vehicles now, which one would you actually go for if you could pick one right now and take it home? Tell me in the comments. If you ask me, I like vintage vehicles from the looks. This one, of course, you would rather call new timer rather than old timer. But to me, I think the look of the new one more angular, more German-ish, I think. So just from the looks, from the exterior, I think I would go with a new one. What about you? Welcome to Thomas's Comparison Driving Lounge, and old versus new, our special new feature right here, and the 986 Boxster. This year, it's told you technology-wise from 2002, but then built back visual-wise for a 97 model. And the first thing you notice is that the steering is more vague, as compared to the new model. So this is here the low degree angles. This is more a little bit wobbly, not too much reaction. Only when you get to the outsides you have a little bit more feeling, but that's definitely better in the new model. What's also different here in the older model is you sit higher inside the vehicle, so you feel more like sitting on the car than in the car. That's definitely different. The new model, you sit more integrated, but definitely you already feel it's a modern car. That's really cool. So although it's 20 years old here basically, it doesn't feel so outdated. It feels really more or less timeless, I have to say. And chassis wise, and as for the center of gravity, this is already awesome. It still drives like a go-kart even now, and this is just a pure driving fun, definitely. With the automatic gearbox here, of course, it's comfortable. With the manual gearbox, it's a little bit more engaging to drive. That's also an interesting difference, that with the old model, the manual gearbox was faster. Nowadays, the automatic gearbox, the PDK, the Porsche Dual Clutch transmission, is faster than the manual. So that's a switch. Here, the old automatic gearbox are converter automatic gearboxes. They are a little bit slower, definitely. Interesting that you can control this Tiptronic, that's how they called it then, also here at the steering wheel, and at both sides you can, so with both minus you can shift down, and with both you can also shift up. So yeah, why not? And there's also then the kick down automatically, so even when you are in the automatic mode and you hit the throttle, then you have this kick down. But really the cool thing to me is that it drives like a modern vehicle, and it has such a great handling. I mean, yes, the steering feel is better nowadays, but this one already, you feel it. That just chassis-wise, such a fun vehicle, and you really get this old school vibe here when driving the vehicle, and definitely, yeah, I can say the same driving fun, and with a little bit of nostalgic feeling, of course, looking back to my very first test co-drive, in this case then, back then with my uncle. So I also sent him this video, of course, so best greetings to him. And yeah, it's always great to have a personal nostalgic connection to a vehicle, no doubt. So let's shift back here, and it's really interesting how the sound from me comes really from the left side here, from the midship engine concept. And I mean, it's not a super fast acceleration in this model, so about 6.6 seconds. So that's definitely quicker with the new model. So not a great performance machine in a way on, you know, if we compare nowadays performance cars, but still it's definitely fast enough so you don't have a lazy feeling or so. I think it has the right power size for that time, no problem. And of course, naturally aspirated, so you have this linear power output, this linear power curve, so it doesn't feel, you know, that artificial as some turbo engines feel. So I have a lot of fun driving here in the 986. Yeah, it's not explosive as the power, but really nice, smooth acceleration. Of course, driving with open top, always a fun feeling. The thing is here, the Boxster, definitely more a summer convertible. A lot of wind turbulences coming here in the cabin, here at about 90 kilometers an hour, so about 50, 55 miles per hour. Well, I mean, yeah, that hasn't changed. And if you want an all-season convertible, you'd rather go then for a different kind. Yeah, really nice, flooring it out. Wow. I mean, we still want to drive this with open top because this car is about open top driving, and it's super cold outside today, yes, but that didn't hinder us from driving this one here with the open top. So really cool first impressions here from the 986. And even more looking forward, I mean, I've been driving the 718 Boxster for a couple of times in different versions, but it's always something different. If you directly hop on from one car to another, how it feels right then. Now one more here, corner, steering work a little bit more, acceleration out, beautiful. But drivetrain-wise, in comparison, it feels a little bit lazy if we now compare it to the recent iteration. I would say, let's switch it. And now the 718, the current generation, here with the 4-liter 6-cylinder flat engine. Sport Plus mode, you already hear it. And let's accelerate it out. Yeah, okay. That's something different. So clearly, performance-wise, a huge difference to the old model. And I mean, it's both naturally aspirated, but when you hit the throttle right here, yeah, huge difference. So performance-wise, this is really a major difference than here. I mean, yeah, acceleration figures 6.6 seconds versus 4 seconds. That's of course then something you really feel in driving. And indeed, you sit a little bit more integrated into the vehicle. As for the seating position, steering is super precise here, so that's also different. So here the low degree area, this already has an effect. It's just more precise and better to handle. As for the steering, and it's also cool, all the 911. Yeah, beautiful Porsche episode here for you today, right? Isn't it? And now we also have the 986 model in front of our camera. Also good to see. So definitely, as for the connection driver, car, road, this is better here with the new model. You just have more feel for the car. Yeah, and sound-wise, I think also a big improvement. We just hear more of the sound, definitely. However, the older model more had some kind of cruising feeling, I would say, whereas the new one is more in a sporty direction. I mean, this one here also being then the top sporty trim level, definitely, comparable to the GTS model. But this could be also something where you would say, yeah, I want the older model because I'm more searching for this cruiser vehicle. It's sporty as well, yes, and also handling-wise, it was excellent. But definitely when you drive this one here, especially in the Sport Plus mode, you are more in this attack sports mode. You know what I mean? So this can be indeed something where you say, if you want this more cruiser Porsche, then go for the more vintage model. And if you want it sportier, then the new one would be the choice. However, if you go to the base driving mode, then it can also be rather silent. The exhaust note is more subtle. The valve is not open. Then you can also use this one as a cruiser. As for the seating comfort, it's quite interesting. The bolstering is way stiffer here in this vehicle. However, if you drive it for a longer time, the older seats are not too comfortable either. So they're a little bit deceiving at first. Here, the crucial difference is that the new model, if you not pick the 25 years special edition model, but go for Boxster T, for example, with the fabric seats, or the GTS with the microfiber seats, you should go for these, not only for the animal's sakes, but also for your comfort's sake, because when you don't have the slick surface, then it also adapts more to the body. So a fabric seat or the microfiber seat more adapts to your body and is therefore also more comfortable. So yeah, and now we have a beautiful shot here again of two cars. Really enjoyed both driving parts. The question is, which one would I go for just driving wise? And the thing is, this one here has a more sporty driving experience. It feels like the perfect driving machine. So, for driving it sometimes as a joyride and with a little, joyride comfort focus, I think the older model has somehow more, nostalgic touch, definitely. But if you want the perfect sports vehicle, and to me, the Boxster or the Cayman are the perfect Porsche cars, mid-tip engine concept. It has better handling than the 911. I think for this episode, I would take the current one, the new one. However then, as I told you earlier, to me, the real Boxster is the Boxster T, or then the GTS if you want the 4-liter 6-cylinder. And this is how it all started with mid-chip engine sports cars at Porsche. This one here, a 550 Spider from 1956, and we are here in the Boxster 25 years exhibition. Usually you could visit this place here, but due to the COVID situation, we are here to show it to you. And here we can see the development of the mid-chip engine sports cars. Here you can see more angular design from 1974, a VW Porsche 914 powered by a 4-cylinder VW engine. Further on, you can see that the design moves more in the round direction again. 984 prototype from 1984. And then this is especially interesting here for our episode today. This is here the 986 Boxster in a cutaway model. And these extensive cutaway models are not being done today anymore because it's so expensive and work intensive to do that. And you can really very well see how the car looks like from the inside, and especially, of course, the mid-chip engine concept really sitting behind the seats. Yeah, you might think, doesn't it get hot? So I think the real clue to this is really to integrate this engine so well into the chassis. No space is being wasted, and of course there you can see why these vehicles drive so well, because the center of gravity is being kept so extremely low. That's really interesting. This one here, by the way, you can always read the nice signs. 1999 6-cylinder flat engine, and of course really spectacular here, this so-called Berg Spider from 2015, also with a 6-cylinder flat engine. So a lot of interesting vehicles here to discover in this exhibition, and glad we can show that to you. And this is the original concept car for the first series production Boxster, 1993. So the Boxster concept or the study, and you can very well see how they actually kept the design of the concept vehicle and put it to the first 986 generation. That's really, really cool. And just 3 years between that. Especially here, these wheels with the individual screws, 18-inch. And of course, the interior is more, look at that. Really spectacular. And of course, hand-built, so that's not really made to work. Now to our conclusion for today with the Porsche Boxster old versus new. Well, I mean, from the nostalgic charm, this one is the clear winner, definitely, and it has a special feeling, and of course my personal connection. But the overall winner for today, I must say, is the new one, because the look just a little bit more, a little more aggressive, a little bit more angular, especially the headlamp design. I think it's better with the newer one. Here in the 25-year Special Edition model, I really like this gold-silver contrast. That's also really cool. But I also like the 718 Boxster in the Miami blue, for example, this screaming out blue color tone. Interior-wise, I think also that the newer generation has, just more perfection in design, better build quality and so on. Really cool that we see that Porsche offers this program that they can retrofit newer infotainment system for their older models. So that's also available for, for normal customer, not only especially here with the museum vehicle. And driving wise, it's really a huge difference. The vintage model has this special style of, a little bit more cruising feeling, I would say. Not too much in the performance. The new model, especially here as a top trim, wow, what a great performance. Also clearer and better from the sound, and especially the steering feeling. That is a huge difference to me. So that makes this car here a perfect driving machine. The midship engine concept, that we have a great handling on the road and the weight band and so on, that's already present with the old car. But this, let's say, this perfect driving machine feeling, that is then present with the 718 generation. That's so cool about this car. It's also a reason why this is one of my favorite Porsches, and I always prefer the Boxster. If you compare it to the 911, I would always pick this one because it has just this perfect handling. I hope you enjoyed this special episode for today. Leave us your comments. Which one would you pick? I would go for the new one today. But what's your choice? Tell me in the comments what you thought about our new old versus new series for today. See you next time.